Yeah. I did too. I feel like nothing better in the world than a
No, I think
those
someone bring it out to Arizona. Oh, we were talking, yeah, he was short, so he just told me, I'll just look at things.
You know, they're I'm like, okay.
And I won't even talk about it. His furniture. It's like, okay, almost not a quote, and I would want to spend 3 minutes sitting in that chair.
Folks, we just have a couple of minutes before we start. If you haven't already gotten signed in, go ahead and sign in at the back. And if you don't have a name tag, we've got some temporary name tags for you. If you're a longtime member, you can pick up your regular name tag. We're just about to get started. No. Well, yes. Perhaps, yeah. When you get to his, you can actually, I think, when you get to his, just do the share on the meeting here. It's this button.
That button, okay.
And then share his thing, which is going to be this Y Austin blah blah blah.
Okay.
And then remember to expand it to full screen. And
Okay.
it is going live now.
Okay, yeah, it's going live. We got it live. Okay. All right.
All right, I think we're going to get started just a little bit early because there's a lot of announcements today. So first of all, I want to welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. It's going to be some interesting things going on today. We're going to be talking about some interesting topics. And what I'd remind anybody is one of the topics that we're going to be talking about is the tax rate election. And we've got Chito, Vela here, Councilman Vela, to talk about that. And I know that there's a couple of folks that have brought some flyers. They may have put them out on the table that have a different perspective. But regardless of what your perspective is on the tax rate and, taxes in general, we are going to be respectful, right? So please keep it respectful regardless of what your take is on that. Also, yes, keep it respectful. Okay. All right. So starting now. So thank you. Thank you, Kelly. All right. So because we have a lot of announcements, I want to kind of keep the welcome spiel short. So I will say, ask how many people are new to the meeting? New to the meeting? Wow, we have a lot of new people. Normally go around and ask them what street they all live on and introduce themselves. But I take it you had a chance, and we'll be all here after the meeting, so you can mingle and talk to each other and introduce yourselves. Don't be afraid. Nobody bites very hard, so it'll be good. And the other thing I want to do is ask how many people are new to the neighborhood? Actually, new to the neighborhood. Okay, no, not too many-ish. Yes. Okay, great. So at least we've got a lot of people here. Did y'all come mainly? How many of you that are new came specifically to hear about the tax rate election? One. Okay, great.
We know who's going to be asking questions.
You're very brave. Thank you. Thank you, Aaron. All right. Well, with all that said, first of all, thank you. And I also want to say thanks to all the volunteers. Anybody that volunteers for the Neighborhood Association, raise your hand. Excellent. Let's give them a hand. with that out of the way, I want to go ahead and open this up to neighbor communication. So anybody that has a public announcement they'd like to make, I am going to try to keep this to 2 minutes each. So please don't droll on and on like I do. Okay. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay. So first up, because I know you have a time constraint, come on up and give your name and what your.
Okay, good morning. I'm Suzanne Miller, Mueller, from Hope Lutheran Church. And I think last year y'all were great about coming and enjoying our spring festival. And so I am here to tell you about the fall festival. And so it's going to be held on November 1st. And I know that's also, you have another Walnut or Windsor Park event that day too. But usually people can go to 30 minutes of one, 30 minutes an hour, and still enjoy the whole event. Everything is free, which is great. And we've got a lot of activities such as pony rides and bounce house. And the one thing that
I'm going.
that y'all will probably enjoy especially is we'll have brats, hot dogs, popcorn, all the usual. And we usually have some homemade tamales that are so good. We have a Hispanic church that comes at noon, and so they're always good about supplying those too. And if you're acquainted with the dog park, they're working on a dog parade. So you'll be hearing more about that too. So anyway.
Where is it?
November 1st at Hope Lutheran, which is right across from Sadler Mean School, used to be Pierce, and 6414 Northampton. Y'all of you are shaking your heads, yes, that you know where it is. We hope that you'll come enjoy it. I did put some flyers out there, and if there's any questions.
Right here.
I want you to say your last name again and tell us, are you related to the Robert Miller family?
Oh, sure. Aren't we all? Actually, I'm a Lee County Miller. We'll claim it.
And you pronounce it Miller.
Miller.
Yes.
All right, that solves it. There you go.
My father-in-law says UE was I, and we're the Millers.
Right.
So.
Exactly. Very German.
And I think I know your relatives, I believe.
You do. You do. Some of them are still in prison.
Well, thank you for letting me come and share this with you. And we hope that you'll come and share time with us.
Cheers. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And there are some more flyers in the back if you didn't catch any of that. So, all right, next speaker, Jackson, you want to come on up?
This is a lively meeting. I love this.
Be careful.
So my name is Jackson Love. I'm a resident on Corona Drive. I'm here on behalf of my wife, Natasha. She wasn't able to join us, but just wanted to share some information about the upcoming election. There are, I believe, 17 measures that residents here need to vote on. So get out and vote. I believe early voting starts October 20th. Election day is November 4th. Everyone keep me honest on those dates?
Yes, sir.
Great. And there are some nonpartisan voter guides on the table back there if anyone wants to grab one. I think that's it. Anything else to add to the election?
We're newish to the neighborhood. Where's the early election polling stations around here?
Oh, who knows that?
Katie?
A lot of times it's at Austin Energy in Mueller.
Miller.
So like, I think it's Philomena.
Okay, thank you.
And
Also
another one
at the
is
clerk's office.
Planning and Development Center. Usually it's on close to ACC Highland also. That's
Oh, yeah.
I'm almost certain that's going to be an early voting site too. So
It will be.
Where was that?
That's
Planning and Development Center.
Planning and Development Center, which is right across the street from Vivo.
The link now, and kind of between ACC Highland and the link.
Also Carver Branch, Cepeda Branch, Ruiz Branch, Pleasant Hill Branch. Some of the
Libraries.
Libraries.
Yeah.
Where did, not Windsor Park, but
the other
We're
one.
on the day of the voting, the regular voting day.
All right, did you have anything else?
I'm glad someone knew the answer to those questions.
Thank you.
Cheers.
All right, next up, who was next?
Jen.
Jen, great.
Hey, good morning, y'all.
Ooh, you can respond. I spent some time in AISD, so I like it when the class responds back. But hi, my name is Jen Krieger. I am actually not a Windsor Park resident. I live just over 35 in North Loop. But I've been coordinating a little bit with Martin and the climate committee I'll have here. We have kind of an equivalent over in North Loop. And just trying to spread the word a little bit about an opportunity to take advantage of some federal tax credits. Who doesn't love tax credits? To do some energy upgrades in your home by the end of the year. So there was a few years ago with the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, there was a big push to beef up tax credits that were available to all of us as residents. So these aren't like business tax credits, these are individual tax credits to do things like make your home more energy efficient, which also saves you a lot of money on your monthly utility bill. It makes your home more comfortable. There's things like adding solar panels or backup battery to stay powered when the grid unfortunately goes down, to getting an energy audit just to understand like how leaky or not is my home, how much am I just throwing that air conditioning out the gaps around my window. Insulation qualifies, and these tax credits are worth thousands of dollars. And so it was really great that they were beefed up and the timeline for accessing them was extended with the Inflation Reduction Act. Unfortunately, this summer, the current administration pulled back the timeline for those tax credits. So they're going away 7 years early. They're going away December 31st this year. So now is the time, if you have been thinking, oh crap, my AC is about to go out, or man, I've really wanted to replace those windows for a long time, but I just can't stomach the upfront cost. All of these things are eligible to take thousands of dollars off your tax bill for 2025. You got to do it by the end of the year though. So the how is, you can come talk to me, or I'm actually working with a group of about 10 Austinites. We're all over town. We're just people that have done these energy projects in our home. We are not getting paid to do any of this. Some of us that do have a background in energy efficiency and solar and things like that, but this is unpaid. This is just neighbor to neighbor. We want people to take advantage of this before it goes away. So I'm going to leave this this flyer in the back, but this barcode will take you to just a Google Drive folder that's got a bunch of resources. It's got information like this about what types of projects qualify, the details of how much it costs, how much the tax credit is for, how long it can take, because unfortunately, while there is a really big tax credit for solar, it's probably too late to get it done by December 31st. So you're looking at things like upgrading your water heater, your air conditioner, your furnace, your windows, adding insulation, adding plugging gaps and cracks around windows and doors, sealing everything up real tight so that you're not, again, wasting that energy that you've heated or cooled outside.
Jen, that's time.
That's time. So there's a list of vetted contractors that some of us have personally used, and you can sign up for one-on-one help.
Information is in the back.
So information here, this will be in the back.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Must it be our primary residence?
No, with some exceptions. Like,
And just a quick,
512-983-2343.
just a quick add, Austin Energy also has local tax credits, not tax
Rebates.
local
Rebate.
rebates that couple very well with those. Those are not going away.
They're not going away.
No.
But the
And they're
federal
very
stuff is
generous
going
too.
away.
They're all in here. There's information in here. And again, there's a Google form if you want some one-on-one help. You can do this. I'd love to help you out and get more homes upgraded.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you. All right, were there any more? I know, yes, Sarah.
Okay.
Come on.
Someone,
Come up front.
Someone left this cup last month. Would you please claim it if it's yours?
It's only from 1990.
Right.
All right, thank you. All right, that's a quick one. Come on up. Today is going to be the Sam Sarley Show.
Yes.
Yay.
I'm talking a lot today. I'm Sam. I'm the treasurer. I'm here to make 2 announcements for various organizations in the neighborhood. Peggy Street Halloween will be happening this year. It'll be on Peggy Street all the way Wheless to Linda. The street will be blocked off. There will be candy given out by the various houses. It'll be essentially a really large block party. It's a really great way to have a safe Halloween. If you would like to make a candy donation, Katie Anderson at 1903 Utopia will take your candy donation. So if your kids or your neighbors' kids want to go out there, it's a nice way to make sure that the neighbors aren't totally dependent on their own means to give candy out to the neighborhood. So it's a great experience. Again, Peggy Street Halloween, 5 to 8 p.m. on Halloween night. That's Friday, October 31st.
Are you gonna post that on the neighborhood?
It has been posted.
Okay.
Yes. I have seen a flyer for it and I heard it has been posted. Okay. Second update, switching gears. I attended the schools committee workshop at the library this past Wednesday. It was very successful. We had 2 panelists, including Nadia, who's here today, who brought a bunch of her materials to share for anyone who wasn't able to attend. We had a great workshop led by Heather Wong, the secretary last year, who has a lot of experience working in public schools at AASD. We kind of came up with some big key ideas and concepts for our neighborhood that have been given in the draft plan. Nadia is going to share a couple of those with you if you weren't able to attend, and then she's available to talk with you more about it after the meeting. So Nadia, and she was a great panelist on Wednesday, so thank you for coming.
All right.
2 minutes.
So I just wanted to say the big points, and I'm at the back for anyone who wants to talk more, and I brought the maps, but AISD is proposing to split our neighborhood in half to Webb and Marshall. So for the last 7 years, we've been advocating that we needed all gender option because all of our students were split to Dobie, Webb, Martin, and Lamar when our local middle schools were closed due to neglect from AISD.
Ironic.
So they finally built Marshall, and now was the time that they were finally going to zone it. We asked for the zone to include the 8 schools that were displaced that originally did go to Pierce and Gus Garcia. And for the last 3 years, they have allowed our students to be the priority kids to go to that school. And now that they've proposed a zone, it does not include Andrews and Harris. So that is a huge issue. And then the second thing is maybe just that they're doing a bit of neighborhood shuffling. And I think it's a demographer that does it, right? So if you live in an area and it actually is way closer for you to go to this school, but as the crow flies, they thought you could just go to this school, for example, that might be something that's important to individuals. So I think it's important for everybody to look at the maps and to remember that the people at these schools are not necessarily being engaged by Austin ISD. There is 3 weeks essentially before they're supposed to take a board vote on this. All of it is being precipitated by the state threatening closures and requiring many of our schools to do turnaround plans. We're looking at another big thing is they're proposing to close Wynn Elementary. And Pecan Springs Elementary is going to have to undergo a large turnaround plan that requires a near full staff turnover. And Andrews Elementary is potentially in that same situation, and it's unclear. So I feel like all of our neighborhood schools are about to see a lot of disruption, and there are things we can do to make that less. So that is the long story short, probably. It's a longer story than that.
Questions about that?
What should we do about it?
So I have some materials to help learn about it, but essentially they have, if you just Google Austin ISD consolidation, they kind of have a plan that is listed, and there's a spot that says drop us a comment card. It's not a giant button as it should be on the page. It's literally, when you look through it, there's a sentence that says drop us a comment card, and comment is highlighted. And they released the plan on Friday, and by the meeting on Thursday, they had received over 2,000 comment cards. And I'm telling you, none of them have come from our neighborhood. None of them have come from the communities who've been slated for closure. They've proposed 13 direct closures of schools, but about 26 de facto closures of schools because of moving special programs into areas like we saw with our area 10 years ago. So they have not engaged people. And so make a comment card. That's how you do it. You put a comment in and encourage everybody to look at it and make a comment.
We also recorded the meeting that happened on Wednesday night, and it's on the windsorpark.info site, our site. And you can watch the meeting. It's just the part where we had the panelists. And as soon as I get the information, I'll add links and stuff to the the notes about the meeting and the comment.
The
place.
comment card
Yes.
section, yeah. we should
So
add
if I
that
can
on there.
get that information, I'll add it.
Yeah,
to
Alice actually sent out a great email, right, that has all that info.
Okay, I'll
How to
see.
make a comment.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it. Thank you.
Thanks, Nadia.
Okay, were there other announcements? I could have sworn somebody else asked me, but, library, of course, yes. Give you 3 minutes, Kelly, just because we love you.
10 minutes. I'll do my 2-minute thing. I'm gonna put in the timer. Hello, I'm Kelly Overton. I'm the manager of the branch, the Windsor Park branch here in this neighborhood. So now I can't remember what I was going to say. No, it's all good. 1 minute, 43 seconds. Here we go. So our senior social center our social hour is going really well. It's every other Wednesday, 10 o'clock in the morning. We've been having anywhere from like 5 to 9, 11 people show up. It's been really great. We have a new adult programmer who just got switched to my branch. So she is now in charge of this program. So we're hoping to see that grow and get more speakers coming, more kind of like resource, kind of been poured into that. The next thing, this afternoon, today, to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, we have a quinceañera makeup demonstration, which is going to be very cool. There's like a whole series of workshops that are going on around different libraries. We got the makeup ones. I think that's going to be really fun. And also we have a mariachi band at 2:30, like real live musicians are going to be in our band, in our library. So please come support them. It's going to be amazing. So the quinceañera workshop is this morning. We're missing that, sorry. But the musicians will be there at 2:30. And we're really proud that we got that specific program in our branch. The Windsor Park Neighborhood Book Club, our longest running program, is this Tuesday, the 14th. At 6:30, they are reading Bicycling with Butterflies.
Wow.
Yeah. We have a bunch of things coming up that are kind of related to Roots and Wings. We're doing them in October. We also have some things coming up in late October, November. We have a Sweet Flight honey pairing party next Saturday at 1 o'clock. So you can taste different kinds of honey with different kind of snacks. The other Roots and Wings stuff. So bats are actually amazing pollinators. And we're doing a Family Naturalist Bats program. Also, October 27th in the afternoon, we're going to have a bat group come and talk about bats. And there will not be a real live bat, but our staff have been making artistic versions of bats and laminating them. And so we'll have like 20 different bats so you can actually see how big or how tiny they are. The smallest mammal is actually a bat, the bumblebee bat. And the fastest mammal is actually a bat. It flies 100 miles an hour. So take that, cheetahs. Seriously. Native plant swap and talk, also part of Roots and Wings. It's going to be Saturday, November 1st, the same time as EcoFest. But we'll also be there we'll have a table for that. Dia de los Muertos, we're doing an event for that. It's October 25th. We're going to be building an ofrenda and doing some other crafts that go along with that. We're doing stuff for Halloween. We're doing Haunted Candyland all throughout the library on the 30th, not the 31st. And there's also going to be, so that'll be in the afternoon, 4 o'clock. We're going to be doing thrifted ghost paintings around October 21st. So we'll provide the paintings. You just paint the ghosts on them. It's going to be super cute. I think that's it. We're also, we are going to be a stop on the East-West Studio Tour. There's a new group that's in charge of it this year called Almost Real Things. And so we're having 2 artists that are from East Austin, and they're going to be displaying their stuff only on November 15th. So please come look at their art, buy their art. We'll also have a paper art workshop going on all afternoon that'll be free and open to everybody. And thank you so much for your time.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jennifer Rose Davis, and I am a local customer for film and for theater that works out of here in Austin. All this crazy that you see outside that you had to walk through to get in here is the ATX Theater 3rd annual costume and thrift sale. So every year we do this to raise money for my theater, the Archive Theater, and also for ATX Theater, which represents 80 different theaters here in Austin. And ATX Theater does things like support Austin theaters advertising in the Chronicle by providing some extra money. They do things like run citywide auditions for our amazing actors here in town. They find all these different ways. They put out a newsletter every single week so that you can see all the things that are happening in the theater community and all the shows that are going on every single week. So that's where any money that you spend here is either going to go to support them or to support my theater or to support the individual artisans who are displaying. So we'll be open by the time y'all get out of here. We'd love to have you come by. We also have some amazing baked goods from Tailored Treats for sale, and some coffee and some snackies and all that kind of stuff. All right. So if you have any questions, I'll be over there helping people find their Halloween looks. Thank you so much.
Wow.
I just wanted to.
Who are you?
Hector, Windsor Competition Chair. Just wanted to give a quick update on September 11th. We had a working group at Austin Energy for the Northeast Austin Transportation Plan. So that's essentially looking at all of the challenges of mobility, biking, walking, car, everything inside the highways from I-35, 290, 183, and 51st. So we don't have a date yet for feedback based on that working group session. There will be a chance to look at some challenges and then for the community to really prioritize things that we want to address quickly, things that we want to address as a high priority. And so there's going to be some round of feedback that will be announced in the future. Along those lines, I-35 has issued a revised plan that does have some impacts into the neighborhood. So if anyone has any questions on that, we can talk about that. There's like some slight changes to how they were working. One of the big issues was putting the exit moving it from the Gooseneck to Broadmoor. So there's been a lot of conversation about that on the Facebook group. And I want everybody on the way out today to look at the Harris. Harris is almost done, so we're really excited about that. There's also been a lot of conversation about removing the bike lane that was on Berkman right next to Harris. So as everybody walks out of it, leaves today, keep an eye out for how that was done. If you have any feedback or suggestions, this working group feedback session will be a really valuable time to provide feedback on a lot of those topics. So that'll be coming up. We don't have a date yet set, but when that does come out, we'll post it to the neighborhood.
You might want to look into the executive order of the U.S. Department of Transportation attacking and recalling for the removal of bike lanes all over the country.
That should be cheap.
Yeah. It's about the same as taking out the rainbow
crossings, right? Yes. Thanks, Hector.
All right. I feel like I had an announcement. Since I'll be up here all day, I might make announcements later on. I know that, October 25th, which is a Saturday before the EcoFest, is going to be a fun and games, family fun and games event, also with the health services, public health services. They'll be doing like blood tests, like for all kinds of stuff. In addition to the fun stuff, there's all of that. Over at the Wheless Lane Church of Christ, which is the pink church along Wheless Lane going toward Manor Road. And it's just about a block or two before Manor Road. I don't know the address of that church off the top of my head, but it's the Wheless Lane Church of Christ. And I went out there with my mom last year, and they have some games. It's interesting. It's fun. It's a fun. It was a fun time. I enjoyed it. All right. So without further ado, I would like to go ahead and ask Chito, and you can go ahead and pull up his presentation.
Yeah.
This is Chito Vela, our council member, and he's going to be talking to us, educating us on the tax rate election. And Chito, if you stand here, you'll be on camera.
Yeah, stand right there.
Okay, got it. And Hello, everyone. I'm your council member for District 4, which includes all of Windsor Park. And just, it goes from 51st at the bottom to Breaker at the top, kind of Cameron Road, kind of, sort of on the east, and then Lamar, and then 183 on the west. It's divided by 35, almost perfectly down the middle. Big chunk of North Central Austin. It's an honor and a privilege to represent y'all. Can you put on presentation mode, get that a little bit bigger?
How do I do that? At the bottom.
Right, there's like a little arrow.
Here.
This right here? Nope, that's not it.
Let me see if I can. Mess this over here.
Oh, right down here.
I'm not sure. Actually, this is a different way to do it.
That's a share. That's the
One. Hey, nope, that didn't do it either. That's okay.
here. Go to the actual presentation.
Ah, there we go.
And that's better even. Yeah. All right.
Cheers.
So today is I want to talk about the TRE. It's a tax rate election, which this is the first time that Austin has had this type of TRE. There's really only a handful of cities have TREs, and they're mostly very small cities. So just a little bit of background on this. The Texas legislature in 2019 passed a 3.5% property tax cap on city property tax revenues. And what that means is that, let's just say the city collects $100 million in property tax revenues. The city cannot collect any more than $103.5 million. And if they collect more than that, they have to have an election to get approval from the voters to do that. The old cap, the reason that we didn't have these elections before, the old cap was 8% per year. So that was a large enough number that no city really ever had a property tax rate election, because there was enough kind of room in that 8% cap so that we never really had to have, we worked within that. And in fact, there'll be another slide that'll be in there, but for the last 25 years or so, Austin has traditionally taken about 6% of the property tax values. And this is going back to, I think, 2000 or so. Again, it varies from year to year. Some years we would take a lower amount, some years we would take a higher amount, but it essentially averages out to about 6%. The ledge was considering other bills. There were other numbers. They talked about 6%. They talked about 4%. Honestly, if they had set it at 6%, we would not be here talking about it. We would have dealt with that, and we can live with a 6% cap. But they picked a 3.5% cap, and which we have abided for the last few years. 2020, it kicked in. So for 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, we have stuck to that 3.5% cap. But now, when inflation through a good chunk of that time period was well over 3.5%, I mean, today it's around 3%. Your wages have been going up around 5% nationally. So we really just need a little breathing room on the property tax side of things. Go ahead and next slide, please. So it's just this is a slide just showing what SB2 means. And what I'll do is the blue here is the amount of money that we would have collected without SB2. In other words, that if we would have kept taking about 6% of the property tax revenue, the blue bar, that shows what it would have been for the different years. This is with the 3.5% cap. So you can see the cumulative effect is really important here. 1 year is not a big deal. We can deal with that for 1 year. But as you go year after year after year, it does start to have an effect. And so, for example, this year, we're going to collect $123 million less than we would have collected if we would have stayed with that kind of 6% level of property tax collection that we've had for the last 20, 25 years. The TRE will actually raise $109 million, which is, again, a little less than the $123 million that we would have gotten. Next slide, sir. Just a little background. The where does the city get its money? Here you can see 50%, about 50% of it comes from property taxes. So that's the single biggest source of revenue for the city of Austin is property taxes. About a quarter comes from sales taxes. About 15% comes from utility transfers from our very well-run utilities. Basically, both Austin Energy and Austin Water will kind of give a dividend, basically kind of if it was a privately owned utility, you do a distribution to shareholders and whatnot. Here, both Austin Water and Austin Energy give the city a certain amount of money that we use for the general fund purposes, which is public safety, libraries, parks, all that kind of good stuff. And then other is about 13%. Other is going to be everything from municipal court fees to the admissions at Barton Springs to, just kind of, it's a hodgepodge of a lot of, someone rents a room, let's say at the Windsor Park Library, that's money that goes into the general fund. Huh? Oh, now it's free. Maybe if you rent the big room at the Austin Central Library. And so just again, a hodgepodge of different revenue sources. Sales taxes are great. They're volatile. Sales taxes can go up quite a bit. They can go down quite a bit. And so that makes it it's a helpful, very helpful, but volatile funding source. Property taxes are stable and steady. And, ultimately, I mean, the city is largely, I mean, what's the library going to get? About what it got last year, plus like a little bit more than it's a relatively, the city funding is relatively kind of stable and steady. Go ahead. Next slide, sir. This is where we spend general fund revenues. And by the way, this is all talking about general fund revenues. And what does that mean? And everyone's like, what does that mean? The airport, for example, makes a lot of money, but airport money stays in the airport. Airport money goes back into the airport. It does not go to pay for, the police and fire and parks and all that kind of stuff like that. The same thing with, for example, Austin Energy and Austin Water. Those are very, very large sources of funding, but that money stays essentially within the utility for the lines and the pipes and all that kind of stuff like that. So what we're talking about here is really like the general fund, which is largely public safety. But you can see here, so police, fire, and EMS make up 65% of the general fund. So the vast majority of your property and sales taxes go to public safety. You can see the police there is about 37%. Fire is about 18%. EMS is about 10%. And these numbers are relatively constant. Honestly, if you look at Dallas's budget or Houston's budget or Portland's budget or Kansas City's budget, it's amazing how similar different municipalities' budgets are. The 2/3 of municipal money going to public safety is almost a rule across jurisdictions, no matter the politics, no matter the kind of it's just there's a certain amount of costs that go into basic kind of public safety expenses. Parks, libraries, and public health are the three largest outside of public safety. Parks is about 9%, libraries 5.4%, public health is about 4.5%. After that, there's not a lot left. The animal shelter is about 2% of the general fund revenues, and then you've kind of got a different kind of assortment of smaller departments and agencies that take, again, a relatively small slice of the general fund money. Next slide. So the TRE is going to raise an additional $109 million. Where is that revenue going? About 30% of it is going to go to homelessness. And it's a real unique opportunity right now, too, because a lot of homeless service providers have gotten together with the Homeless Strategy Office in the city of Austin and have put together a plan to really reduce homelessness in the city. And a few of the individual things that it will fund. The marshalling yard is one of them. I don't know. Do y'all remember the Katrina situation where we had the refugees from Katrina that came to Austin and they were staying at the convention center actually for, I can't remember how long, but at least a month, probably longer than that. And that really sparked an idea that we need a place to hold a bunch of people when something horrible happens. And so we built this facility called the Marshalling Yard. It's up on the corner of kind of Riverside and 183. And it's a huge warehouse, air conditioned with bathrooms and a kitchen and all this kind of stuff too. The convention center typically uses it for staging. When there's a big convention in town, they'll come and they'll stage there, and then they'll kind of go truck by truck over to the convention center, unload and prepare and all that kind of stuff like that. Right now, what we did is we converted that into a homeless shelter where there's about 300 people in the Marshalling Yard in a congregate shelter. Basically, there's a bunch of individual beds in there, and then just kind of some recreational, some couches and some TVs and stuff like that. And so we've had 300 people in there for about almost, I think, 3 years or so at this point. That costs us about $9 million a year to run. We were using federal money, the ARPA money, the kind of pandemic era money for a while to support them. That money is going to be gone. We need to keep the Marshalling Yard open because I do not want 300 folks, going back into the streets and under the bridges and in the creeks and all that kind of stuff like that. That's going to be funded out of the TRE. The 8th Street shelter, it's the former Salvation Army shelter there on 8th and Red River. Salvation Army was selling that property, which at the time, I think it only held about 50 or 60 people. But the city said, basically, no, we cannot lose any emergency shelter in Austin. The city bought the property. We did a light remodel, what I would call a light remodel, and we've probably got about 140 people. I think the capacity is about 150 or so, but it's for women. Essentially, it's a women's shelter in downtown Austin. Again, that's probably about, I think, a $7 million, $8 million a year annual expense to manage it, to keep it open. That's another. And then we've got these 2 bridge shelters also. The bridge shelters are these hotels that the city bought, which one of them is actually in my district on St. John and 35. The other one is down on Old Torf and 35. And there, when we do, I should say sometimes, not all the time because we don't have the space for it, but when we do a camp kind of cleanup, we will move the entire camp into the bridge shelter. And the idea of the bridge shelter is that that's where people kind of land. That's their first kind of time out of homelessness, a lot of them out of chronic homelessness, get their documents together, get some health insurance together, and start the process of finding a more permanent place. The idea is that folks in the bridge shelters would stay there for typically 180 days or so before we can find a more permanent kind of housing. So the bridge shelters, I don't remember the cost, but those are also part of the homeless TRE funding. About 20% of the TRE is going to go to fire and EMS. On the fire side, wildfire mitigation is a big push that the city has been on that honestly doesn't affect District 4 that much. It's really more of a west and southwest is where the highest kind of wildfire dangers are. It is a very serious concern, and we do want to make sure that we're addressing the danger of a potential wildfire. We've also had a pretty good amount of firefighter overtime, and so the TRE is budgeting that money for firefighter overtime. EMS also, where we really need to. EMS is just the front line of healthcare in the city, and we need to fund that and boost it, especially emergency mental health response system, which we've made some real strong investments in that. 20% is going to go to affordable housing programs. 20% is going to go to public health programs, including restoring funding cuts by the Trump administration. A lot of them were around vaccines. A lot of them were like vaccine outreach programs that public health are hard to reach populations that public health was getting money to go out there and vaccinate those folks too. 10% goes to Parks and Rec, mostly for better park maintenance. Next slide, please. I'll get into that park stuff too, because I think that's very, very important. The TRE, it also keeps us from tapping our financial reserves. Financial reserves, there were 14% of the general fund. The general fund was $1.6 billion, so we had about 14% of that amount in reserves. Since I was elected in 2022, we've actually boosted that amount to 17%. That's good. First of all, the reserves pay interest. When I got on council in 2022, interest rates were like 1%. So like, interest earnings for the city were negligible. Now they're like 5%. And interest earnings are actually, a significant source of revenues for the city. So given the kind of current environment, I would like to keep those as high as we can. The reserves also, especially with the current federal situation, if there is a natural disaster, if there is some kind of, human disaster, some kind of homeland security type thing, is the Trump administration going to help us? I don't know anymore. Is FEMA going to be there? I'm not 100% sure what the situation is with that. So if there is some kind of $30 million event that happens, it may be just on us. Like we may not be able to get reimbursed the way we have in the past from FEMA. That's a real concern. And that also makes me want to kind of keep the reserves nice and fat just in case. And then we've also lost a lot of big grants from the Trump administration. $105 million for the highway caps. There was a $32 million Solar for All grant that we lost. $50 million in a flooding grant out of Onion Creek to deal with some of the flooding down there. So again, the reserves give us the opportunity as needed. Maybe we can take some money from the reserve to do some infrastructure. Also, again, I'd love to have that flexibility there. Next slide, please. Just to manage the city on a day-to-day. But is the city being efficient with our taxes? This was a question that I got, and it's a very, very good question. One thing that Dan can speak to this, we've gone digital on all of there's no more meter readers, or there's very, very few meter readers in Austin, not zero, but almost zero. All of your water and electric meters are now send signals back to Austin Energy and Austin Water, so there's no more meter reading. That is really great program. It makes it very efficient. The readings are more accurate. When you have a leak. Sometimes, I left my faucet outdoor dripping one time, and like it'll email you and be like, I think there's something dripping somewhere, which is it's really great. Saves water, saves electricity. Another great example is these basic life support ambulances that we're starting to use now. These are your normal ambulances, 2 people, an emergency medical tech, and a paramedic responding to whatever kind of situation. Now, obviously, it's big enough to take somebody, to the hospital. Only about half of the EMS calls that we get actually involve taking someone somewhere. So we stood up this basic life support ambulance, which is 1 paramedic in an SUV to go and check on people. A lot of the elderly, I ran out of medication. I'm very worried. I'm having a panic attack. I'm having something, it's a lower level emergency that just some kind of TLC and attention from the paramedic can sometimes resolve without any kind of additional. So we're trying to move towards sending the right response to the right situation, and not sending, for example, a fire truck with 4 firefighters on it, or an ambulance with two folks on it, to a situation where just 1 person can respond to it. Transit signal prioritization, that just allows public transit and emergency vehicles to hold green lights and to get to emergencies faster. And then the last thing, Austin has a AAA credit rating. And they don't hand those out like Halloween candy. That's a testament to the well-run city that we are. Next slide, sir. This is a big one, parks. We have added a lot of new parks. We've all seen it here in District 4, Pomerleau Park. We have the Highland Neighborhood Park over on St. John's, a Brownie Neighborhood Park. There's a brand new, beautiful little park up on 51st and Springdale, the Little Walnut Creek Trail. We've added a lot of parks, but the budget for maintenance and upkeep of those parks has not kept up with the amount of new parks and the amount of new amenities. I love splash pads. People love splash pads. They get clogged and they break, and we've got to go and fix them and maintain them all the time. Love them, but and then there's just such strong demand right now for parks. So a lot of this is going to be, we're trying to pump up the level of maintenance. For example, a lot of the question about the TRE is, how often do you want the bathrooms cleaned at the park? How often do you want the trash picked up at the park? Do you want it like a once a week kind of situation? Do you want it 3 times a week? We're trying to move from a relatively average level of maintenance to a much higher standard of maintenance, and the TRE will help us do that. Next slide, please. Just a few more parks. Colony Park, also, we just added a huge, beautiful new park out in East Austin, that in a place that didn't have a lot of resources. They've got a brand new pool, a brand new rec center, super, super nice. Next slide. So what will it cost me? We looked at a lot of different options of what to raise. We chose a 5-penny version there. And so that will cost the average homeowner about $200, about $17 a month property tax increase for the TRE to generate the services, a list of kind of services that I discussed. And then next slide, sir. And this is just overall, what do you do when you're paying property taxes? Who are you paying it to? This is AISD. This is City of Austin. This is Travis County. This is Central Health. This is ACC. So I just want y'all to understand that the city is a large chunk of the property tax bill, about a quarter of it, but the vast majority of your property taxes go to AISD. And unfortunately, half of those taxes go who knows where to who knows what. A very serious issue. But I just to understand the context. So because people are like, property taxes are going up this much. It's like, well, no, actually, it's a slice of your overall property taxes are going to go up. It's not your whole property tax bill. Again, most people's property tax bill in Austin, your average homeowner pays about $2,000 or so to the city for, again, fire, EMS, police, parks, libraries, all that kind of stuff like that. I mean, I think Kelly just ran through all the things that the library does. We all love that stuff. We got to pay for it. I mean, you get the quality level of municipal services that you want, and that's what this is about. What level of municipal services do you want? Do you want a high level of quality municipal services, or do you want kind of a minimal level? In Austin, and I can, believe me, I hear about this every day. We want a high level of quality municipal services. We want libraries and parks and sidewalks and bike trails and all that stuff. We got to pay for it, and that's what we're going to be asking you to do on November 4th. So last slide. All right, that's it. Thank y'all very, very much. And I don't know if we have time for any questions or anything like that.
We have time for like 2 or 3 questions, and I already see 2. So go ahead.
For the more point, you did not point out that the special session of the legislature came within a half hour of setting the cap at 1%.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing that stopped them was a debate between the House and the Senate. The Senate wanted it only to apply to the larger cities and counties and exempt everybody else.
Yeah.
The House wanted it to apply to every taxing district in the state, from hospital to mosquito district to city. The House will also want to exempt.
Yeah.
That's facing us. In my view, this is our last chance.
Yeah.
Because they're going to follow that with a cap on fees. Because we already have an existing opinion, legal opinion, I have my filed over 20 years, that any fee over the cost of the service is a tax.
Yeah.
So this is the last chance you got, folks.
I very much appreciate that, and I think the context of this has to be seen in the Texas legislature attack on cities. I mean, that's what it's about. They don't control the cities. They don't like the politics of the cities. They're trying to kill the cities like they've done to the school districts. So, I mean, I don't think we can really talk about this without talking about the political context. And Brian, that's exactly the appropriate political context. They don't like the socialist, communist, Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio things that we do. And they want to make sure that we can't do them. I think we need to tell them, no, we've got to govern ourselves. We've got to count on ourselves. Look, the state has this live and let die approach to governing. The federal government is in total chaos. If we want something done at the local level, I mean, we're going to have to do it ourselves. I joke about it's like Return of the City State, like the old, Athens and Sparta, like city state and stuff.
Thank you for this presentation. I think my questions kind of flow into each other, and I think it will start with, how do you say this to individuals who are already at their wits' end when it comes to their spending? We've seen that Travis County has recently increased their property taxes, which something has not been shared by the city. And also too, when you said it's 5 pennies based on an increase of $197, based on what property amount is that?
That would be the average. I believe it's a $400,000 house is that average. And I can't remember it exactly, but that's basically the cost to your average single family home in Austin. I can't remember the exact value, but I think it's in that $400,000 to $500,000 range is your kind of average house. There are other tax increases, no question about that. I mean, again, Central Health is increasing their taxes again because of Medicaid cuts, because they're losing a lot of federal funding that they would otherwise have gotten, and they have to make up for that. Again, I think the options are basically like we either try to raise taxes and provide those services, or we don't provide those services at all. I think that's and again, I understand the affordability concerns. Absolutely, I understand the situation, but we also have obligations to the public. I mean, we've got to have a well-run, well-resourced city. I don't want to see a degradation in the kind of the quality of the resources or the public safety response, the parks and libraries. Again, nobody wants to pay a penny more in property taxes than they have to. But I think the question is, what does that mean? What do we have to support and what do we don't? I mean, I would say homelessness, that's probably the number one thing I hear from folks is what are we going to do?
Individuals who can't afford to have these property taxes, along with what's going to be happening with our bond election that's going to be coming up, to not be able. So there's a possibility of more people being able to be unhoused or pushed out.
So apartment prices are down in Austin about 20% over the last few years. Well, I mean, and then we do have also, if you're elderly or disabled, you have a property tax. You're frozen at certain levels. It will affect folks, but nowhere near the level that in other words, if you're over 65, your property taxes are frozen at that 65 level.
You also cannot have your house. You also, thanks to a bill I helped pass 30 years ago, you cannot have your house taken away from you.
That's
if
right.
You're over 65.
You cannot be
taxed.
That's right.
All right. So I know we've got a lot of questions, but we've got a lot of things left on the agenda today. And
I'm gonna stick around.
He's gonna be around. So afterwards, you guys can attack him or praise him.
Or praise him.
Or praise him, as the case may be. So let's thank him for being here and sharing. Right, yes. So thank you everybody for those questions. And I know that there were a few more in the back, but Chito will be around for that. All right. So the next speaker that we have up here is going to be coming up from the code enforcement. Is that right? The Austin Development Services. So I have that wrong. And the most important thing, you can go ahead and make your way up here. The most important thing that I want to say is that they provided the donuts today.
Yes.
Can you put this flash drive in? It's got the photos of the properties.
Okay.
Chito for having us today and Chad for inviting us today to talk to you guys. My name is Tracy Allen. I'm one of the assistant directors at the Austin Development Services. Part of Austin Development Services, as you may not know, code merged with Development Services. Our new name is Austin Development Services. We're here to talk to you about 3 properties. One on Wheless, and I think there's 2 properties on Patton that we want to bring to your attention, the history, the status, and what we're doing to try to keep the neighborhood healthy and safe. I have with me Senior Division Manager Robert Moore and our Code Supervisor Marlena Wright here. They're going to be presenting to you. Again, thank you for having us today.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us. Again, my name is Marlena Wright, and I'm the supervisor for our Case Review and Escalations Division. He's my direct supervisor, Division Manager Robert Moore. I supervise the inspectors that respond to the site, so I'm just going to give a brief update and I'll pass it over to Robert Moore to talk about additional escalation efforts that we're looking at. So these properties, all three, 2606 Wheless, and then the 1712 and 1800 Patton Lane, all went before the Building and Standards Commission on July 23rd of this year. They gave the most egregious orders in effect due to recognizing the issues that we're having with these properties. And that was $1,000 per day per violation. We are working with the city law department to enforce those orders, help us with some various escalation tools that we also have that he'll talk further about. We are monitoring these properties weekly. We are working very closely with the district representative of APD, and we're responding accordingly. We're doing several cleanups. One is happening next week. Jason Huskins is one of the district representatives. We're also working with Angela Coleman, and then a few various other APD officers in the area.
I think Huskins is the commander, right, of this sector?
He is,
Ida,
yes,
right? Okay.
yes. And then there's also a Zachary LaFord, I believe, that's a sergeant as well. So we're working very closely with the appropriate APD members. We understand the safety and hazards there. We're also performing abatements as needed. We have an abatement scheduled for next Thursday. They're going to come and clean and mow as needed as well. So we are trying to move forward very aggressively in-house. I'm going to pass it on over to Robert Moore, my division manager. He's going to talk about what happens after a building and standards order is given and different various tools that we have to move forward. Thank you.
Hello, thank you everybody. And I'll make it quick because I think questions are probably what you're more interested in hearing or asking. As Marlena said, when it gets to that level, when these properties get to that level, we have two options in front of the Building and Standards Commission. It's a repair order or it's a demolition order. These all three properties received a repair order with the most aggressive fines that she had alluded to that can be had under state law. So those fines just started accruing about a month ago. So they're starting to rack up. We don't anticipate compliance just from what we're hearing and the lack of communication with the ownership and things like that. So on one of them specifically, the 2606 Wheless, we could be looking at taking it back to the Building and Standards Commission to obtain a demolition order, right, to remove this property from existence, and then all the problems that are coming with it, right? And so that's where we're at on those properties. Also, we have turned them over to the legal department just to get it on their radar. The legal department is a slower moving machine, not because we don't have a great legal department or staff. It's just the nature of the beast as far as how the legal process works, right? So we've got some hefty penalties accruing on these properties. Unfortunate thing about it is just because they're accruing doesn't mean we're actually going to be able to collect them. That's a whole nother animal. But the good news is it does help the legal department potentially foreclose on these properties. So there's some things in the works. But again, I could go on and on. I want to leave it open for questions because I think that's probably what's most important here.
I think Chad's trying to pull.
Yeah, we're trying to pull up the photos and show you if you're not familiar with these properties.
Yeah.
Let's go. We'll start with the right.
I live pretty close to the Patton Lane, I think 8 kilometers to Jehovah's Witness in the park.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely very concerned about Harris Elementary opening. Just because I live on that street, like my son is not allowed to walk or bike anywhere by himself. It is
sure
the car stuff is crazy already, but now on top of it, we're seeing deals happen in that parking lot, like as we walk by, as we go to the park. And as the school opens, that new campus is going to draw a lot more kids. Very concerned about that, and that is we're talking a 6 to 9 month timeline, right? So is there anything that can change in that amount of time for that particular property?
Which one? The Patton?
That's the big one on Patton that's I'm not remembering.
1714 and 1800.
It's the 1800 Patton. It's a very large apartment complex.
Mm-hmm.
And it's right up next to a
yes.
park, a brand new park, and Harris Elementary School. It feeds the crosswalk to Harris Elementary School.
As far as the time frame of anything changing, I mean, that one is not on the radar for immediate demolition. I'm not saying it could never be demolished, but it's actually it's pretty good condition actually. It doesn't look great, but it is in good condition, and it's got a fence perimeter all the way around it. So and it's boarded. for the most part. We always check on them, make sure it's boarded, because they're going to rip them off and, things are going to happen. So we're always monitoring that property. But that one, we're going to probably lean heavily on the law department on that one to try to make something happen. Hopefully it gets sold and they come in and they repair it. I mean, that's the goal ultimately. But yeah, that one would not probably be an immediate candidate for demolition right now.
Yeah. I also want to flag that right down the street from that is the new affordable and transitional housing Bailey at Berkman, which is going to abut the fire station on Hickman. So these are like 6 houses apart from each other. This abandoned apartment complex where we're seeing dealing happening.
Mm-hmm.
And this new affordable housing high-rise is going in with 100 units. And then like 6 houses from that is the school. It's just this like row of stuff that seems like it could cause a pretty big like issue in the next year or so, which is why like I feel like that one particularly, I don't know who could flag that, but like it seems like a pretty bad like mix of stuff that's happening in the next year.
May I say something? She's taking notes for city law. We're taking it all in. What Robert was alluding to earlier, the properties that you're going to see, we have, there's codes and then there's things that they look at as imminent danger with safety and the sound structure of the building. And the one that he was referring to that you're concerned about, we're on it every day, every week. And first thing we do look at is the concerns. Is there school? Is there daycare? Is there a nursing home? What is the vulnerable population, so that we can kind of like put our eyes to it. So we are looking at that. Unfortunately, when you look at both of these properties, you're going to see why Wheless is going to be up for a demo before these other 2 structures.
Yeah, no, I think it's great that Wheless is getting demoed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome. And I get that there's prioritizing. I'm just saying, like, as a parent about to send my child to school, I'm like,
I'm a parent too, and I understand. So I'm senior citizens. It's my love and children, right? So those are the main things that we look at.
That's a nice ceiling fan.
That's what I said.
That's what everyone says.
Did I say that? It's like, oh.
Just by the way, too, I just want to mention, I believe that the properties are also now in a bankruptcy. I don't know that yet, but that was what I heard, that the owner has filed for federal bankruptcy protection, so that may change things. And I will say, I think when all this started, I want to save the properties if at all possible and turn them into affordable housing. Ooh, at this point, well, the insides look absolutely horrible. And my fear is fire in the winter also.
Yes.
And so, like, I again, if at all possible, I want to save them, but I feel like every day that goes by, it becomes less and less possible to save them. And at some point, we just gotta demolish them. Again, I'm gonna let code, make that call and stuff, but that's kind of my just kind of brief thoughts on it.
You did mention there was going to be history you were going to tell us. What's the story?
Well, the story behind these is we've been working these locations for decades, right? Like just minor.
They've been empty for decades?
No. Just you wanted
Code
the history,
violation.
So I'm going way back, but where do you want?
Code
what are you
violations
specifically
for
looking
decades.
Yeah.
So they were inhabited?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
One of them still has one person.
Yeah. That's
there.
1714. That's this one.
But Austin Energy has not cut electricity because there's
And they
still
won't.
somebody
Yeah, they
living
won't.
there, and they're not going to cut electricity until that person leaves. So this shocks me too, but that's the
City law is aware of this. We are monitoring this situation very closely. So.
You got a
I
question?
live on Patton. I'm down there every day. Driving, walking, whatever.
Mhm.
That place, those apartments in that Wheless Mall, 30 years.
Mhm.
You couldn't walk down that street back in the 90s. Early 90s, without feeling like you might get shot. A lot of drug activity. There's still drug activity there. I see it in Palmerloo Park from time to time. There's not a lot of homeless people that seem fine and not really. I haven't had a bad experience with myself now. Back in the old days, those 2 places have been repaired once, and I don't know what happened to cause it to degrade other than maybe the owner
just didn't reinvest in keeping it up or whatever.
Mhm.
Like someone was saying, Chito, I worry about that place catching on fire. Because there's a big vacant field behind that, you know, we dry in September, you know, given they're going in a drought period right now. It's gonna catch fire. So hopefully, you'll move expeditiously with this before something really bad happens.
Yep. Absolutely.
So these are pictures of the Wheless Lane property.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a plan. That's nice.
And this one has already caught on fire once.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. The last photo in there shows the fire. Yes, ma'am?
Could you just quickly go through what you look for? Because I'm not really familiar with what you're looking at. Is it the electrical wiring? Is it, you know, who else is living there, who's not supposed to be? Or what is it?
Yeah, I mean, we look at these properties for, well, beginning for code violations, right? But then this is a really bad scenario, right? And so it goes to the Building Standards Commission. Yeah, I mean, we're looking to make sure, see if anybody's living there. We're looking for any violations, really. But are you more specifically wanting to know what we look for to determine if it's demo worthy, or if, like, where are you going with that?
Well, I'm not even sure what some of the codes are that you're enforcing.
Oh, okay. So structure maintenance codes, anything. I mean, it could be no hot water. It could be insect infestation. It can be broken windows. It can be no paint, or, you know, the outside sheathing is deteriorating. It could be roofing. It could be foundational. It can be unsanitary conditions, tall weeds and grass, stagnant water, sewage leaks, no ACs working, no heater. Structure maintenance, IPMC is where we get all of our violations from. That's the International Property Maintenance Code. Sorry, I always say acronyms. And anyway, we write up anything within that that literature.
Yeah, so I might have missed this because I was fumbling around with the drive there. What is the plan? What's the timeline on these demolitions? Is that the plan to
You
demolish?
said demolitions.
Yeah.
We don't know that it's going there yet. I mean, here's the real crux of it, right? It's all about budget. I mean, if we had millions of dollars, we would just go probably mow all these. Well, I say that. I mean, we would like them to be repaired because we like the affordable housing. But what I've seen, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Once you make people fix something, right, they want to charge more for it once it's up to snuff with the community standards and stuff. So that's a whole nother ball of wax. But, you know, I have a $175,000 demo budget, which is like nothing, right? Wheless alone is going to be $285,000. So we're going to have to get special funding for that, which, you know, we've done it in the past, and I think it's worthy to do it here. Maybe we can get some TRE funds diverted over here. I'm just kidding. I kid. Yeah. But I mean, just to set things in perspective, I mean, we have 30 properties that we've had demolition orders for, and they're in a queue. We haven't prioritized, but we can't get to them all because we just don't have the money.
It looks like you could just push it down.
Yeah, and just a little bit more of background. Sorry, not to, but this guy bought a bunch of properties, and has just, like, you know, his investors are after him, the banks are after him.
Yeah.
And he has completely just, it's not just, I mean, we're aware of these because they're in our neighborhood. He has others, and it's just like a disaster of a real estate kind of investment strategy, quite possibly fraudulent. I'm not sure, but that's what the root cause of this is that he has kind of just abandoned all his properties at this point.
Yeah.
And City Hall has the list of everyone.
One last question, Nadia. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question even makes more sense to me, but like, what I'm hearing is like, we're looking to demo a building. That's not a solution to me, and so I'm confused, like, does the city have a program that assists owners to maintain their buildings? Do they have a long-term project like the Black Land Development Corporation in East Austin that's doing a great job helping low-income people stay in their communities? Like, do we need a Windsor Park Blackland Corporation? Because I'm just sort of like, you've got an owner who has fallen on difficult times.
That's not what this is.
Why doesn't the city give them grants to
This-
make that project?
So the city does have those programs. This is not a good faith owner that would take advantage of those programs.
And
This-
that
this is-
owner is not interested in selling?
It's a real mystery
Yeah.
why, like, you would have a revenue generating apartment complex and just let it go to hell like that. And I mean, it's a real mystery. I think that he has sucked out all the money that he was planning to suck out of it, and it's just like washing his hand. Again, I'm speculating here,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people are speculating too as to why he would do this, because it makes no sense whatsoever.
I think you need to better show the picture. How many properties approximately does he own?
I think he owns about 8 properties in the city of Austin under various things.
And for how many years has he owned these proproperties?
Each property is different, and our city law department has every single address.
But it's been
and then,
decades.
No.
not that I know
It's
of
been
for
like
decades.
4 years.
Oh, that's it?
Yes.
Because it was a new owner.
This
But-
guy kind of came in and like bought all these properties, and I think got a bunch of loans from everybody, and then took the money and run. I'm not totally sure what's going on.
Yeah,
It-
we
it's
don't want to
very
provide
complicated.
hearsay, but
Yeah.
this is an unusual
I'll provide
owner.
hearsay.
That's all we can say on our end. It's an unusual ownership.
Okay, so one last question, and let's keep the answer brief. Go ahead.
Those apartments were bought by a candidate who was running for mayor. He got beat up so badly over the condition of them, they actually invested money and repaired them. At least 2 of them, I think. But then I guess this guy came in at some point, or someone else came in, and then he came in. I don't know what.
And I don't think he's running for office.
But anyway.
Well, don't vote for him if he is.
That's the way to get him to do something.
Let's get through some of this. All right, thank you guys for.
Flash drive.
Ask the lady at the table at the back. She has it. All right. Now let me see if I can get back to the meeting and. All right.
Do we have something to vote on?
Yes, we do. Just a second. All right. So for all those of you at the back, hey, guys at the back, everybody at the back, guys at the back, if you have a conversation that you'd like to carry on outside. Okay, thank you. Dan, thank you, Dan. Yeah. All right. So up next, now we're going to turn this whole meeting, the rest of this meeting over to, well, actually just joking. So the next couple of topics are going to be Sam. Sam is going to present. And these have to do with the budget. Not the budget. These have to do with some monies that we have right now, and we're looking to allocate for a couple of good uses.
We're going to vote at the same time.
And we're going to vote at the same time. So I'm going to pass around some sticky notes. Here's how it's going to work. If you don't feel like you want to vote today, just don't take a sticky note or keep your sticky note. Don't do anything with it. But if you do want to vote today in this meeting, then write your name. You don't have to write your vote, yes or no, but write your name on the sticky note, right? And then give it to us at the end, okay? That way I won't mail out an email ballot for you. So that's the only thing. You don't have to actually vote on the note, because we're just going to do a show of hands for the voting. But I'll go ahead and start passing out those while y'all listen to Sam.
Doesn't even know my name. Okay. Again, I'm Sam, the treasurer. I have a lot of financial things to talk to you about today. We're in budget season. We've got a treasurer's report, but most importantly, we've brought up that we've had excess funds that we've rolled over from the past few years, and we've opened it up to all of you to bring ideas to the executive committee, how we can use those funds to better improve our neighborhood. I know Brian and a few people had mentioned the Delwood baseball. So last month we gave them a really wonderful, very reasonably large sum of money to help repair the baseball fields that are already seeing new shade structures. I'm going to propose 2 ideas to you today that have been brought to the executive committee. We have funds for both of these. So this is not an either or situation. This is a, do we say yes to both or yes to one and no to the other? We'll be voting for both of them individually. So the first one I'm going to talk about is a $200 membership to a not-for-profit group called I Live Here, I Give Here. I think in the past it's been discussed. This has been brought up for this idea of joining as a neighborhood association. They provide training to not-for-profit boards. They do a lot of good materials and have a lot of, we'll say like advocacy, database. So someone can search for this neighborhood association online and be able to give money. But the most important thing in my mind is the ability to join Amplify Austin Day, which is the biggest day of giving in Austin in March. So we can't participate in that unless we're part of this membership group. And so you've probably seen, poster boards around town in front of your favorite establishments that ask for money on Amplify Austin Day when we have significant giving. So my ask is that you consider if we should join this group. It's $200 right now in the month of October. The board would be able to use training materials to think about how we can better our organization, and we'd be able to participate in this day of giving. So again, yes.
Does $200 last a year?
Is 1 year membership. Yep. So it's $200 for the next year. David.
It allows us to receive money.
It allows us to participate in this Amplify Austin Day and receive money, which I'm hoping that if we can't make a return on $200, we will not be joining the next year. And this is something where we can join once and we don't have to join the next year if it doesn't work out, if we don't find value in the materials, if we don't raise enough money through Amplify Austin.
So how are you listing this? If we vote yes or no, how are we listing this?
What do you mean, listing the organization on the website?
Or number 1, or what are you?
Are we writing?
I think
yes.
we're just raising our hands at the end.
Yes, but
Yes.
on
Great, thank
this, since there are 2 propositions, right? So go ahead and write for this first one, go ahead and put prop 1 if you're voting on it, right? Just number 1, write your name and put number 1 on it if you're gonna vote on this first one, right? If you're not gonna vote on the first one, if you wanna wait until you look at something else or think about it, then don't put number 1 or prop 1 on there, okay? The second one, I know this is complicated, but I didn't want to give out 2 different sticky notes and try to keep that going, okay? If you want to vote on the second one, you'll just put a number 2, or if you want to vote on both, put 1 and 2. So I'm going to count you as for whichever one. So I'll probably be sending out 2 emails, 1 for each thing, or I don't know. Just try to indicate which one you're voting on. So this is the first one.
Please clarify why we're being asked to vote on this now instead of including it in next year's budget.
Okay, so we thought that the use of these funds it's from the general membership, from the general fund, and it was a dollar value that the executive committee felt needed to be asked for from you guys rather than including the budget and voted on with the budget. I did include a temporary line item, which I will be talking about in the budget. So if it passes, it will be included, but we felt like it was something we should ask you about since it is we are joining as a neighborhood organization.
So the funding would not be paid until next year's budget?
I would pay it now, but it would be for the 2026 membership.
Okay, so when is the membership due to I Live Here, I Give Here?
So if we want a discounted membership, it is in October.
So that's the incentive
So
to do it now.
Yes.
So if we want,
Correct.
if you want, we could wait until after October 31st, and it would be $250. So I was prudent and thought we might want to save that $50.
Okay.
Yes, but it would be towards the 2026 budget.
Fiscally
What's our
responsible.
total? You said we have an excess.
Yes, that's a great question. I will talk about it with the treasurer's report. We've got right now we're at about $13,500 in what's called unencumbered funds, not allocated towards a group or a committee that's raised money or anything like that. So again, I'll go over this in the budget in a few minutes. We have a pretty big outlay for the rest of the year with all these payments that we have to make, and I'll go over those. We're carrying over about $6,000 to $7,000 this year. So that is kind of our pool of money if we operate efficiently next year, with which we have to work around with these figures. So that's been pretty consistent over the last 2 years because we've done a great job getting sponsorships for the newsletter and increasing our membership. So I'm hoping we'll operate right around $6,000-$7,000 carryover, if you will, like this excess funds. So that's actually a great question because the next thing, any questions about that before I move on to this next thing we're voting for? Okay.
Are we gonna vote on this first one first?
I think we should hear them both. So if maybe you think one is more important or you think that we shouldn't spend both of those money, how's that? Does that sound fair? This next one is a lot larger sum, which is why I want to give you both an option. So that first one membership is $200. This next one is a grant for the schools that we are zoned to in our neighborhood. The way this would work is we would allocate a total of $2,500 to 5 schools. Each school would have an option of up to $500 available for that school. We would request that they basically write us an intention of what they want to do with the funds. And that's it. We want to make this easy for them to provide for their facilities, their staff, a project that they're wanting to do. So the 5 schools are the 3 elementary schools, Harris, Andrews, and Blanton, and the 2 high schools, LBJ and Northeast. Those are schools that we are currently zoned to in 2025, regardless of everything we briefly talked about with schooling earlier. The idea is that these schools are going through a really hard time with closures and consolidations. Morale is very low among staff. They've got students that, some schools can support projects like shade structures or, art tables or things like that. We've done this in the past where we've provided extra funds for projects at the school that are local, our neighborhood children are zoned to. So this is an idea that we give them an opportunity to ask for funds. This is a one-time option for this school year, 2025-2026. So it'd be $2,500 total if each of the 5 schools took advantage. We'd be giving the money to the PTA. So the PTA would have the opportunity to spend it in a wide range, but we'd like to know what that is, essentially, when they apply for it. And the executive committee would see the response and would decide if that's appropriate. And in most cases, I think we would deem it would be appropriate to give them the funds. But we would review it before we just wrote them a check for $500. So this came out of, sorry, Chandler, go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say, this just came out of a need of having a lot of conflict and controversy over these schools and really seeing a disparity, at our local elementary schools where Harris has even come to the neighborhood association to ask for help supporting things. We'd like to take our excess funds that we have right now and distribute them to these schools. All right, Chandler.
Is $500 per school enough to?
It's pretty meaningful to certain schools. I will say I won't name names, but there are schools that have significantly higher budgets that maybe they won't even apply for it because that might not be helpful enough. I would hope it's helpful, but maybe it's not worth their time. Other schools, this will make a huge difference.
So up to 500 across these 5, but if 3 apply and the other 2 don't, do we redistribute that 2,500 across 3?
I don't think so. I think we leave it at up to $500 per school. And then it's a one-time thing. It's not available next year. It's available right now. Nadia.
Okay, I'm in the schools committee, so I don't want to naysay our thing. I want us to give this money to the schools. However, I feel like there's 2 things. I think one, there's maybe not clarity about what schools we zone to, because right now we do zone to Webb and Lamar and Northeast. While we're all in the new LBJ vertical team, I don't think we actually zone to it, but we should, but we don't.
Okay.
And so one is the schools that we're choosing. It seems haphazard.
Okay.
What can you name again the schools that were on your list?
Yeah, what we decided as the executive committee, because I thought we had consensus that these were the zone schools, was Harris, Andrews, Blanton, and then LBJ Northeast, the 2 high schools. No middle schools, since there weren't we were under the impression, based on the last few meetings we've had, there weren't zone middle schools.
Yeah, that's not accurate.
Okay.
Okay, so that's one thing. And then the other thing is that we have many schools with almost no money. And I feel like I appreciate that we're offering the money to all of them, but maybe when we solicit, even having to ask for the money is a barrier for some schools. That's one thing.
Yes.
And just to have people understand the disparity in our neighborhoods now, the Blanton PTA its last reporting was about $88,000 for the year, and Harris brought in about 800 last year. So that is $1 to $100. So if we're gonna make an equitable contribution, it would be like a $5 donation to Blanton equals a $500 donation to Harris. So I don't know how we, like, I would feel better about how our money's being used if we just looked at the realities on the ground and said, hey, let's offer this grant to these schools, because like with Harris, it doubles their PTA budget. With Andrews, it might quadruple their PTA budget. Right. So I almost wonder, like, can we amend it to get an approval from the body to like designate a certain amount of money towards our schools, and then maybe there's a further refinement of how to do that.
So Dan can,
Yeah.
just to say, we'll get to you in a second, but Dan,
I'm
can you?
afraid we're going to be putting the cart before parliamentary horse here.
Yeah.
We need a motion on the floor for the, what did I give here? And a separate motion for the school funding. We need them to explicitly say the amount, what funding, where it goes to, and what budget it's coming from. If it's a budget amendment for the 25 budget, or if it's projected to come 26 budgets.
Okay, while we're thinking about that, first of all, this would be from the 2025 budget, right?
I live here, I give here would be for 2026, because
Okay.
because it's for 2026
Well, you
membership.
can't spend out of the 2026 budget in 2025.
Okay,
So
then
it's
it
for
would
the
come out of the
2025.
2025
So,
budget.
yes.
So then therefore there wouldn't need to be a line item on the 2026 budget.
Correct.
So there will be an amendment to the budget you see in a few minutes then.
I would
Well-
like to make a motion that we turn the motion to the Education Committee for the grants to the local schools for the development of a formula that takes into account the financial and physical needs of the individual schools, and to return to us when they have done so.
Can I clarify that we've brought it up and it was a difficult discussion, and the funds aren't coming from the schools committee, they're actually coming from the general fund. So are you asking for
My motion is
them?
to return it to the executive committee.
Oh, I thought you said,
Yeah,
sorry.
You did say the education committee, but
Yeah.
you're saying to the executive committee. Okay. Okay,
But with a fiscally needed version. They don't need the money at Blanton. They don't need the money at Vermont. They need it at the schools that have always been mistreated and will continue to be mistreated. So
okay.
that the emphasis should be, as Nadia so clearly pointed out, on those who need it, not who just because they're here.
All right, Barbara.
I actually have a couple questions. One of them is, it sounds like they would apply for this money, correct?
That
So
was
it's
the
not
consensus the executive committee
actually
reached.
A grant, so that the school gets to decide whether or not it's worth their while to.
That's
Maybe
that's
Blanton won't.
right. It's a
And
possibility.
then the second question I have is, going forward, like maybe next year,
Mhm.
we have an opportunity to go through this all again and revisit it, so that maybe we had something similar out of the next budget, but it was thought through in a different way, like what's the timeline that we need as far as.
Do you mean, could we do it again next year, or could we push this off to next
No,
year?
could we do it again?
Mr. Chairman, I have a motion.
I'm
No.
Sorry.
We need, I'll second Brian's motion.
Okay, the motion has been raised and seconded.
So now we can
Now
properly
we've,
discuss it.
right, and so it's open for discussion, and Barbara was discussing, so I'm sorry, Barbara, carry on.
Okay, I might be out of order in terms of that, maybe I started talking about something I shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Don't worry about it.
It's just timing, go ahead.
So, okay, my two questions are, I think to clarify, you said that the schools had to apply for these things.
Yes.
So it's up to the school to decide if they want the money.
Correct.
So that's one thing. So it's not like we're just giving.
This could be a
$500.
$0 contribution
Right.
this year or $2,500.
So that's different than our just giving, something. to
That's
people.
correct.
So they have.
Right.
Yes.
So that's more of a comment and a clarification. The second one is, going forward, we would still have an opportunity, I think, to do something similar for the schools, like next year or something.
Mhm.
Once maybe even different schools are in our area.
Right.
Once we all understood better what the needs might be, it could be like a different.
Right.
So when do we need to decide on these motions by?
So depending on how this vote goes, that on what Brian just raised, right, whether we should table this and send it back to the executive committee for a review, right? If you all agree that that's what we need to do, then the timeline gets pushed out, right? I don't know that there's a strict timeline because it's for the whole school year, so they've got all next semester to choose to do this. So we can potentially push this vote out to November, right, and delay it. That's another option. Given that, though, we're not going to be voting on anything in December, right, because we're going to have our holiday party. So just keep that in mind as you're thinking about this. Yes, you had a comment.
I would say too, like if you are the parent of a school-age child or a teacher, this is currently extremely stressful for that population. People are having very big effects to their families. I know people talking about moving. I know teachers that think they're gonna have to move cities to get a job. So I think there's a significance to doing this soon as an act of support for our communities. I get that the logistics of it are, that we need to debate that and agree, but I also would like to say that I see a very significant timing here, at least before December, because this is a really good time to just, in good faith, show support for these schools.
Right. So that's an argument then not to send it back to the committee, but to actually go ahead and have this vote today for this year's budget, this year's money, $2,500. And if it's inequitable this year, then we can talk about something different next year. But think about the possibility that if we push this out and then decide not to do it, none of the schools might get any of this money, right? I agree.
Mr. Chairman, you're engaging in debate. The chair is not authorized.
Oh, I am so sorry. I did not realize that I was not allowed.
Somebody jump in on this.
I want to make sure I understand. So schools need to apply.
The consensus on the executive committee was that we would make there needed to be some sort of intentional effort from the school to request the funds. Therefore, by making it a grant, we are not writing a check to every school. It is if they want it. So my intention as treasurer would be to send an email letting them know we had this. Please provide a one-sentence use of these funds. If that's too much for the school, then we won't be writing them a check.
And then the executive committee will decide on whatever basis.
We will say they responded. That's wonderful.
Uh-huh.
That supports the school and our neighborhood. Great. And then I would write them a check. Is my intention of how to do it.
Would the school's financial situation play any part in the decision?
It would already be decided
as to whether
they're offered $500.
They would get that money.
So right now, what's currently on the table is these 5 schools getting offered up to $500 to their PTA, not the specific school, but that's what's on the table right now. Which I think what Brian is putting a motion out there is that we revise it to come up with a more formulaic answer to equitably distribute rather than have these schools opt in.
That might delay the whole process.
Absolutely.
And therefore, maybe not helping schools.
Possibly.
immediately.
That is a way to interpret the situation.
Right.
It's not a might, we would delay.
I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right.
So can it be said then that they have to apply, you don't have to give it to the people, the school, the PTAs that don't need it,
If they don't ask for it, they won't get it.
but if they.
But if they do
But
ask
if they
for it,
applied
will
for
get
it, we would review it and it would not be based on financial merit. It would be based on, we offered it to them, they've provided a reasonable intention with use of these funds, we would give it to them. It would not be, you have $80,000 in reserve, therefore we're not giving it to you.
But if they have $80,000 in reserve, you reserve the right still to deny.
Why would we offer it though?
Yeah, I think that
We would be basing this, we will be basing this on
geography.
basically on geography, on basically whether they applied and they're not going to use it for some nefarious means. So
Right, right. So you couldn't deny that
Yes.
based on financial.
likely,
If they said they were going to.
I would not, I would personally not do that.
Yes, Patrick.
As a not a parent in the community,
Yeah.
can I just acknowledge that the executive committee made a good faith effort to remain good stewards of our money and help the community? Can I ask community members to approve this and not let perfect be the enemy of good?
Thank you, Patrick.
I don't think anybody's zoned to LBJ from our neighborhood.
No,
Like, and
I
I say
thought-
this, I worked in AISD for 15 years, I've taught at Andrews, I've taught at Harris. Those schools definitely need the money. My kids currently attend Blanton. I don't think Blanton needs the money, in my opinion. But I don't think anybody's zoned to LBJ right now.
Okay,
And
that's,
I'm disappointed that this excludes middle school. We all know middle school sucks. We all know that the middle schools in this area have been really challenged. There are zoned middle schools. There are several of them.
Yeah.
It's screwed up, there's too many, they're trying to right the ship on that, but there are zoned middle schools. For middle
So-
school students in this neighborhood, you do not simply get to like go where you choose, you are zoned to a middle school.
okay, that's good to know. That is good to know. And I want you to reserve that point because we first need to handle this motion that's on the floor, right?
Well,
And I want that to be maybe brought up as a second motion, but it's up to you guys. I don't know.
Oh.
Yes.
before we vote on Brian's motion, I want to bring out a couple points. Yes, once again, we're very unclear as to what schools qualify as serving our neighborhood.
Yeah.
And maybe which schools we are able to identify that actually need our assistance. Second point, we're talking $2,500. Okay. What is our overall budget or what is our overall account right now? Because one of the things when you look at the suggested operating procedures for a nonprofit is that you hold 1 year's worth of operating costs in your budget as reserve. And I don't think that if we're starting to give away $2,500 in time, we're starting to definitely drop beneath that if we're not already below that as a normal operating practice here. I don't think that we're quite up to best practices yet. Yes, it's great to look at, oh geez, we've got this stack of money, let's make it work for us. But as a nonprofit, as I said, there are best practices that say, oh, you should have a reserve. And I think we are ignoring that.
Okay.
Well, that's why I like to go to the I Live Here, I Give Here training so I can learn all these
Right.
things.
All right.
I absolutely agree that we need to raise more, but let's deal with what we have right now.
Okay, so then just from a parliamentary point of view, can we get back to the motion that's on the floor
To send it back to the executive committee.
to send it back to the executive committee
Refine
for
it
us
and bring
to
it back into
refine it specifically? So is there any more discussion on that? Should it? Yes.
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to add, I like this conversation. I know the schools committee does the scholarship fund in particular that typically goes to Northeast and LBJ students. And so what I hear is maybe like a desire to start something that is like a school fund. And when I think about that and how to make that equitable, to me, it's a need-based fund. And like one easy way for me to distinguish who has a need or not, when I think about our schools and what I know about them, is if you're applying, like this is a fund that is available to schools whose PTAs gross under $15,000. Like we pick a number because it's a very exponential thing, this PTA thing it does. And it just, it's PTAs that stay in this band. And then there's a point at which something happens and they break out of the 50K range. And so I feel like we have all our schools almost are in that band that makes, 0 to 2K. And so we could just create a need-based fund for our schools and then we offer it. So that's
Okay,
a
great.
future concept.
Yeah, that's great. Yes,
Okay,
quickly, because
Okay, for me personally, this is getting way over my head because it's so complicated. So regarding Ryan's
motion.
Is it appropriate, it's a question, for it to actually go back to the executive
Yeah.
committee if it is going somewhere? Or does it need to go to the schools committee?
No, it would go back to the executive committee so that we could then decide. Part of that process might be to just transfer this whole process to the schools committee to come up with the formula, but it's definitely going to go back to the executive. All right, so with that said.
I move question.
Oh,
You
yes.
can't do that on your own motion.
Okay, well then do it.
I can't, because I seconded. Somebody would call the question.
So we can vote.
I'll call the question.
Yes, thank you. So all in favor of sending this back to the executive committee so that we can come up with a different formula for how we distribute this, raise your hand. All right, I've got to get 1, 2, 3. That's 18 in favor, 19 in favor. All those opposed to sending it back? That's 8 opposed, 9 opposed, 9 opposed. All who abstain? None, one. Make sure not a voting member, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so just none, so that's.
Jane Ellen in the back.
Oh, yeah, one in the back.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yes, 2 non-voting members, not till next month. If you join today, you cannot vote until November. I should specify. There are a few
Okay,
people.
so we're going to send this particular one back to the executive committee to come up with a more equitable or a different formula for doing it, right? So, thank
This
you.
is
Okay.
by no means a vote of no confidence in the work that you guys are doing. We appreciate it.
Appreciate
I think there's general support as a good idea, but let's take a slightly different approach.
Yeah,
And I
thank
fully
you.
support and agree with it.
Yes.
I
Thank
will
you.
say, this is why it's so awesome that people bring ideas to us, because we can debate it and decide what's best for our community. So I know this was hard for me, but this is a really, really wonderful way to talk about how we can do the best work in our neighborhood.
So with that said, can somebody
I
call
make
for
a
the
motion, we approve the first, right?
that we
For
vote on
the membership.
Proposition
the
1.
member-
For Proposition 1.
For Proposition 1.
To come
So,
out of the 2025 budget as a budget amendment, so we don't have to vote on it again in November as a budget amendment.
So take it out of the 2026 budget.
This will come out of the 2025 budget.
Right.
2025
Right, take it,
Remove it from. the
because in 5
line
minutes you will
item.
see that it is in the
Yeah, yeah.
2026 budget.
Correct,
So.
yeah.
Well, if
We can
are-
remove that.
Let's leave it in the 2026 budget because it's an annual fee.
yeah, okay. All right. With all that,
Move the question.
all in favor?
Move the question, call the vote.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
not your name. We'll get you trained yet.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. All those in favor of the $200 membership, us paying a $200 membership fee to be part of the I Live Here, I Give Here. Right. 1, 2, 3.
Clarity, I can vote on this online.
Yes, and you will be able to vote right online. So that's 26 in favor. All opposed? 1. Any abstentions? None? Thank you. And if you voted today and you want your vote to count, then turn in your little blue things with your name on it so that I can take you off the online voting. All right.
Did you just send me to wrap up the
Yes.
financial stuff right now?
I'm going to let, this is going a little out of order, but we're late now, so I'm going to have Sam. Again,
It's only been a couple years.
Sam, do the next steps. Just your name, That's all you have to do, just write your name.
Okay. So this may have been more helpful to go over the treasurer's report and the budget before we did that, but that's not how we did it today. Okay, so there were copies of the treasurer's report and the proposed budget on the back table. I'm going to go through some highlights. Treasurer's report will be available online, and the budget, the proposed budget for 2026, will be available online, and there will be a short write-up and a QR code in the newsletter. So everyone who gets the November newsletter can access the budget, review it, and then bring your comments to the next meeting. You can email me comments or you can bring them to the meeting for us to discuss before we vote on that budget. So this is a quick glance at the treasurer's report. You asked questions about how much we have in reserves. Right now we have almost $14,000 in unencumbered funds, meaning funds not allocated to a specific purpose. So just a little quick catch up on why that is the case. Our designated funds decreased a little bit. So these are funds that were allocated out. So I want to just talk about, we wrote a couple more scholarship checks, and then we paid the Delwood Little League for our donation in September. It was $2,500, which was $1,500 from the parks budget, and then I think $1,000 from our general fund, or just about $1,000, and then a personal family made a small donation on top of that to us that we gave all of it to Delwood. So that's great. We had those designated funds decrease. So things that are impacting unencumbered funds that I want you guys to know about. The cost of printing the newsletters increased $80 a month starting in October. So for next year, that's almost $1,000 in additional cost of printing the newsletter and distributing it to all of you. So just think about that in terms of when you read the budget, why we might be having higher expenses next year. So again, that's out of our control. That's our printer having increase in cost, which the past treasurer, Josh, let me know that was consistent with about once when he was treasurer as well. So we've only seen a rise in that cost a couple of times in like the last 5 or 6 months. So $80 a month, an extra $1,000 for printing the news. We also, a couple other things like call outs for money. We officially got the Roots and Wings Festival grant for EcoFest. So some of the costs coming from EcoFest will come out of that Roots and Wings Festival budget grant of $750. So thanks to Martin and the team for applying for it. That was really helpful with putting on that great event November 1st. All right. The last thing I want to talk about for our membership or for our treasurer's report for this month is membership is at an all-time high. We're at 269 memberships, and that's over 400 members. So I've raised the goal for next year to 300 memberships. This will be really important to hit with those increasing costs of what we're seeing in the newsletter. So we'll hopefully be talking about a membership drive, driving signups at EcoFest, hopefully doing more things in the community. I think Laurel's really interested in continuing that new neighbor happy hour, things that get people talking and joining our neighborhood organization. So consider that, share it with your friends. We're really trying to push memberships to help us with our income to support our increasing costs for next year. David, you had a question?
Yeah. Can you tell us how we did in the pancake supper?
Okay, I only have hearsay from Gloria, but she did tell me this week at our neighborhood night out, Thames is awesome, $10,000 for the scholarship. Yeah. So I don't have the check yet, but that was the figure she gave me. So awesome. I also saw coming through our channels, like our PayPal and Venmo, a number of individual contributions outside of that $10,000. So really exciting that we'll be able to support, it sounds like at least 10 scholarships from that breakfast. So really exciting for upcoming year. Okay. I want to talk about the budget. There's a copy on the table back there. I think hopefully Chad will pull it up. Okay, so I talked about we're going to have significant spend. I don't like the way that sounds. So I had included a couple of the things that we voted on in that spend, in this idea that maybe might be spending it this quarter. So that will lower the cost if we won't be giving the right now. Other things coming out. I told you the newsletter already, and then we'll be renewing a lot of our annual payments. So we have a PO box, we have the checks and various things come in. We're renewing that. We'll be having our holiday party related to that at the end of the year. That will help or will increase our costs for this next quarter. Okay, so that's where we're at for that. So then I talked about increasing income for next year. So we had a really high sponsorship for the newsletter 2 years ago. So this year we did not hit the target, if you will, the budgeted amount that we would get for sponsorships for the newsletter because we did not keep up with that really high year. So what I will say is we've averaged it out with the last 3 or 4 years. And so we're aiming for around $9,000, I believe, to make from our sponsorships for the newsletter. So that would put us right at about what we've already made this year. So pretty consistent with this year, 2025. We're also going to be, like I said, raising membership income, or I'm going to be projecting that we're going to have more membership. We're going to try to hit 300 memberships. That's 50 more in membership purchases than we had this past year. Then the last piece of income that we have is these awesome t-shirts. We make a few dollars on each shirt. So we'll be purchasing more shirts as we only have 3 left. That's right, 3 left from our initial purchase. And then tote bags as well. So they'll be, I believe, for sale at EcoFest. Yes. And then throughout meetings and various neighborhood events throughout the year. So that will be where we're going to generate a little bit more income for next year. So as I mentioned, we have some expenses, like I said, for the newsletter, the merchandise outlay, but we will be recouping that once we sell the merchandise. And then just a general increase in fees. Charlene spends a lot of time mailing out our newsletters to representatives of Chito and various people that are adjacent to our neighborhood association. So cost of mailing things out, cost of doing our transactions online, not writing me a check, generally costs us about 3%. So as we have more electronic transactions, more memberships, we do have an increase in fees. So those are kind of those big things that we'll be seeing. Maybe they don't seem big, a couple $100 here or there, but they will add up over time as we grow our neighborhood association. Okay, so that leaves us right now with how I've proposed it. Again, I know that's subject to change given everything that happened today. About $1,000 operating next year, coupled with the $6,000 to $7,000 we will carry over, leaves us around $6,000 to $7,000 cushion. Which Dan said, I believe you said we need to have how much in reserve?
Basically 1 year's worth of operating.
And that's about half of it. I will say at one time, at any given time, we do keep about a year's worth in our reserves. So at any given time, like right now, we have between $13,500 and $14,000, which is about our expenses for the year. And that's an unencumbered funds. So at any given time, it seems like we carry that well. But throughout the course of the year, if we don't hit our goals with merchandise or memberships or newsletter sponsorships, we'll be not as strong as we are today. However, I will say this is continuing to be much stronger than we have been in the past 5 to 10 years. So we've done a really good job with Josh transitioning it to me, like keeping a really healthy balance. So this is not me standing up here saying, woe is the world kind of thing. We're doing great. It's really healthy. We're doing a great job continuing to engage our neighborhood, but we're setting the bar a little bit higher for next year. Any questions?
Thank you for all you're doing.
Yes.
That's a great point for me to say I've signed on to also do this next year. Vote for me next month. But if you are interested in learning from the best for 2027, I'd love to pass it on to someone after next year. Yes.
I trust that we need to vote on accepting this, adopting this budget for next year now.
But we will be doing the vote for the adopting the budget in
November. This is to give you time to look at it. It'll be posted.
It's going to be on.
It'll be in the newsletter. It'll be on the website. Please bring questions if you have them. We'll be revising it for the things we talked about today, which is probably there won't be the school line item in there anymore. So that'll be revised. But other than that, any other questions?
Yeah, the 300 membership target.
Yes.
What is the date particular that we should exactly?
For all of next year, essentially. So we want to have 300 people join for a membership of next year. So that'd be by Q3 of next year.
But we will be our membership drive at the end of February. That's the end of the membership drive. We're not trying to hit 300 by that time. It'd be great if we did, but.
Maybe like November next year.
So right now, if you join before Q4, I count it for the current year.
Because-
Run after Q4, I also give the next membership.
So yeah,
Technically,
by
September
November.
30th, 2020.
Yeah, good.
No.
Yes.
I would just like to say, I certainly hope that the $2,500 for schools is in that budget.
Right, great. We'll see what we can do. Okay, great. Do I hear a motion to accept the treasurer's report? Second. All in favor of accepting the treasurer's report?
Yo.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Any discussion? Right. Thank you. Then the treasury report is accepted. Thank you. All right. Yeah, Sarah, do you want to come up and do we still actually have the people here? No. Okay. Well, then do it quickly.
Okay, the yard of the month is at 5502 Windward Drive. And if you're wondering where Windward is, it's off of Trafalgar. And if you're wondering where Trafalgar is, you'll have to look it up.
It's off the drive, off the coast.
Yes. And it's Adam Rosenbaum and his wife, Alyssa. And he was they've been there about 2 years. And this has been a family affair. He and his mother did some of the work and she helped him pick out plants. His stepfather put in an irrigation system, which they later took out because they weren't using it.
Wow.
Because they had done such a good job of picking xeric plants. And they do have a grass. And it's zoysia grass, which is probably about the best grass to have for this area. Zoysia, Zoysia. It's in here.
Yeah.
Yes, and they have one of the plants that they picked out was Adam's needle agave. Adam had to have that because of the name.
Yes.
And I guess since it's so late, I'll keep it like that.
Thank you.
And they do get a $50 gift certificate.
Right,
They get
Yes.
Okay, so two final bits of business. I was notified that I have to announce the slate of candidates for next month's officer elections. So I will be running for president. Sam will be running for treasurer again. Rebecca will be the neighborhood delegate again. Keith is going to be secretary again, and Laurel is going to carry on as vice president if she's so elected. Right? So that is Laurel. That's Laurel Chesky. So, are there any questions about those candidates? Anybody that wants to nominate themselves or someone else for any of those positions?
Yeah, you can nominate at the November meeting.
Or you can even nominate at the beginning of the November election. Meeting. So that's the slate candidate. The other item of business, I think we have to accept the minutes from the last meeting. So do I hear a motion? Yes. So moved. Seconded. All in favor of accepting the minutes from the last meeting? Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Any discussion? Okay, then it is accepted. And with that, I adjourn the meeting. Oh, wait. Wait.
One last thing.
One more announcement.
Okay.
I forgot our
you forgot the biggest thing we do in the neighborhood association. It's we call it Austin Eco Fest. Last time we called it Windsor Park Eco Fest. And the reason we do that is because we got 5 other neighborhoods involved with us now. MLK, St. John's, Pecan Springs, and already did that. Anyway, North Loop. So it is a much larger reach that we've done. We've got the Shade Brigade going out right now to houses to identify those people who could be putting a tree in their front yard so we can shade the streets, which is the whole reason for doing this in the first place. We have a heat island effect in Windsor Park because we don't have enough trees shading the streets, which are heating up during the hot summer. EcoFest is going to be really fun this year. We're going to have the Minor Mishap Marching Band this year. And if y'all don't know who that is, you've got to show up at 10:30 on November the 1st at Bartholomew Park to show you how it is to play songs with a large group of crazy dressed people who are in a marching band. You can also meet your congressman there. We might have a couple of them show up. So depends on what's happening in DC at that particular moment. But I did talk to Lloyd Doggett's office a couple of days ago, and I'm looking forward to being there. He's not running, but he supports what we're doing more than anything else. And Greg Kassar's office said that he might be.
The fire truck again.
Yeah.
One of the successes.
Yeah, we have a bunch of kids' art projects thanks to this. We're going to have other neighborhood associations there doing their little projects and what was it, the butterfly thing that Pecan Springs is doing? It's
yes,
cute.
Butterfly Oasis. Also free mushroom blocks.
Yeah, so mushroom blocks will be there. Bat Conservation International will be there. So we'll find out a lot about bats because the person who runs that organization lives in Windsor Park.
Austin Ecological Association as well is going to be there. And also keep in mind that it's about the United effect, but also about beautifying Windsor Park and beyond, kind of building community around that, taking care of our neighborhood.
Yeah, make your properties more valuable. Imagine every street having shade trees all the way along it. 20 years from now, it's going to be unbelievable. And it's probably a thing that everybody will be talking about in those days.
So sign up. You just need a snap over here. There's also a link on the website. We have WPNA/Shade the Streets. And then you're going to get an email that has a link to sign up on Facebook and on Eventbrite for EcoFest. And I would ask you all to share with everybody you know.
The reason we want to link up is so we can tell tree folks how many trees to bring. Right now, they're going to bring 600. But if they need to bring more,
do we have already?
Well, so far we've got more than 350 households that have signed up, and that's 2 trees per household. So that's over 600 now. But we want to, get tree folks to bring. So you need to sign up to make sure you get trees on that day. We'll also have mulch for free, so you'll be able to carry mulch with you. You'll have bags to carry the mulch, as far as that goes.
Food. We'll have some free food over there.
Yeah.
Do you provide shovels?
No, sir, we do not. Oh, there'll be shovels for the mulch. Yeah, I've got like 7 or 8 shovels. Yeah, don't worry about that.
What else? There's so much. Be there. I mean, yeah, and there's we're having all these groups collaborate with us, even at the neighborhood groups, right?
Sierra Club.
Yeah, we're having all these, but we're also looking for some other folks in the neighborhood association, right, to take on some like small activity, even if it's just a table. So if you're interested, please just shoot us an email. We'll be happy to hook you up.
We have a lot of ideas through Roots and Wings, who gave us a grant, and they have all these different things that they suggest.
Yeah.
Seeds and butterflies and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot available there. We're also going to have a tree ID tour of a self-guided tree ID tour of Bartholomew Park. So that's a way to learn what's in the park itself.
Thank you.
Two things. One, y'all should sign up for that.